right when I hit third, my head, like, I get pushed back further. I'm not sure why they've tuned it that way. 2022 Hyundai Veloster N, the first N product that Hyundai brought to the US. And of course, it was under the lead of Biermann from the M division of BMW, which hopefully means many good things for the driving dynamics. Now, we're powered by a 2-liter inline-4 that's turbocharged, making 275 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque, actually 278 when you enable the overboost, which is a temporary feature that lasts for several seconds. The car weighs in right around 3,250 pounds. Keep in mind that with the DCT, which is the spec with, versus the manual transmission, that adds about 150 pounds to the curb weight. Adaptive dampers and ELSD in the front are standard because, of course, this is front-engined and front-wheel drive. We have strut front, multi-link rear, and the market value right now is right around $20,000 to $25,000. Car is completely stock except for these 18-inch wheels with extreme contact tires, and that's a 225 section width all around. Gotta love the 3-door design. So you have one long door on the driver's side, and you have 2 doors over here. This is where you would get in as a passenger, and I like that you have a normal door handle here, and this is more of a hidden and streamlined door handle that's, you know, matches the black plastic, so it's a little bit less visible, makes the whole car feel more sleek. I think this looks way better than the Elantra N, which replaces it, especially at the front end. I think the Elantra N's a little bit overstyled, but that's a personal preference thing. Interior has a very similar design language to the Elantra N. We actually have reviewed a Veloster N just like this with the DCT out on track. You can watch that video up here. And I felt like it was pretty lively and competent on track, but the question today is, how does it handle out here on the streets? We're gonna go into these various drive modes. Gotta love that you have a lap timer built in. And we're gonna go into N Custom. Now we're in N Custom. Everything is in its sportiest setting except steering and suspension. Manual. This thing actually feels pretty light on its toes and lively. I like the shift lights as well. Nice firm brake pedal feel. Actually getting a good amount of communication through the steering wheel, which in a front-wheel drive vehicle is quite rare. Wow, with the ELSD in this more aggressive setting, it claws for grip. Just like the Elantra N, it locks up the diff. It helps you rotate more. The interesting thing though is when you're upshifting, as soon as you hit the next gear, it actually jolts you forward more. So let me show that to you. We're gonna go down to second. Not getting much torque steer. Yeah, see, right when I hit third, my head, like, I get pushed back further. I'm not sure why they've tuned it that way, maybe for additional drama and theater. It's not like it's upsetting the car, but it is unexpected. Now we do have launch control, and the owner said feel free to try it out. So we got launch activated, brake torque. Now the cool thing is you can actually customize. That wasn't a very aggressive launch. It was set at 3,000 RPM. In the settings here, you can change the actual RPM at which launch control activates at. Let's change this actually to the sporty steering and the sporty suspension. Instantly, steering is way heavier. Dampers too. This is actually a bit over damped for this road. Large magnitude change with these various settings, which I love. When you have different settings that you can tell a huge difference that allows you to cater the car to the road and the driving environment, whether it's on track or on street. Like this would be great on track, I'm sure, but it is way over damped here. So let's dial this back to normal. And now the steering is like, it has this lighter weight for the first couple degrees either direction, and then it gets heavy, and I feel like it's actually numbing out part of the feeling too. Let's see what sport is like. Yeah, sport is probably my favorite. A middle weighting, still retaining a lot of that feel. That Sport Plus is just too heavy and you numb out the steering quite a bit. Oh man, look at it claw for grip on these lower speed corners. This eLSD is so impressive. Wow. The Elantra N, Veloster N, they have this tuning to the LSD that just helps you rotate the car and put the power down so well, because with a front wheel drive vehicle that is pushing over 250 horsepower and pound-feet of torque, you get concerned about things like understeer, you get concerned about things like torque steer. Torque steer here is actually pretty well dialed, and at corner exit you're not getting that understeer that you would expect. Well dialed. Well tuned by Hyundai. The N division doing magic here. Red line at 6,800 RPM. Getting pops and bangs. We have exhaust in the sportiest setting. And pretty quick shifts for this DCT, fairly smooth. Again, the upshift has that strange behavior where it pushes you more at the beginning of the next gear. But it pretty quick both on the upshifts and the downshifts. Which at this price point, it's actually quite an impressive DCT. Throttle response is fairly natural, especially for a small turbocharged engine. It doesn't have that much mid-range torque, so it does reward you to push it out a bit, although right near redline it is starting to give out a bit. Remember, 4-liter turbocharged engine that's fairly high strung. Getting PTSD with these turkeys. Almost yeeted 2 of them in that Z06 here. Those who've been watching the channel, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh no, turkey! More on Instagram. And now without launch control. Getting some wheel spin. That little shove on each upshift is fairly unnatural. Probably something you get used to. But because there's always a slight torque dip between gears, you feel it, you know, you have this torque dip gap and then all of a sudden it shoves you more, so it feels extra accentuated and a bit unnatural. For $20,000 to $25,000, you are getting so much driving experience, especially for a front-wheel drive vehicle that has a decent amount of practicality. This car feels a bit smaller, at least with the wheelbase, a bit more playful and lively than the Elantra N. I think the styling is more my cup of tea, especially at the front end where the Elantra N feels a bit overstyled. Engine is exactly what you would expect for a car like this. You have that turbocharged nature. Again, not too bad of lag, but it is noticeable, the low to mid range. The DCT transmission is actually excellent. I have not driven a Veloster N with the 6-speed manual. The one that I drove on track was also DCT, and I think it is very competent. I don't have any issues with it. It actually punches way above its price point, I would say. The whole vehicle itself punches above its price point. The way that they're able to make a front-wheel drive performance hatch handle and feel, more importantly, when you're pushing on the canyons is nothing short of remarkable, especially at the price point. On track, I'm sure that the adaptive dampers and their sniffer setting would be far more well suited, but on street, like in the soft setting, it's exactly what you want. Well damped, good body control, great steering for a front wheel drive vehicle, and at the price point, you're getting such competence. And you can go FK8 Civic Type R or the newer FL5 DE5 at a much higher price point, but you're getting so much driver enjoyment and pleasure here. Now, are there trade-offs between this and a Civic Type R? Of course, but we can cover that in a comparison video. My friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Big thanks to the owner, Shane, for letting me review his Veloster N. Big thanks to Fenton from Zygreen channel for making this review possible. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.